Hello my beautiful Bitterroots, welcome to my channel, and today I have my project book Smartz update for you guys. Sorry if I'm whispering. It is 7 in the morning and the whole house is still sleeping. I've been up since 5:30. My son had a migraine this morning, so he was on the couch. So I've been up tending to him, and now he's finally sleeping. My project book Smartz, I drew which, if you guys don't know, it's a thing I created for a project reading. I started it late. I started February, and I'll go on through the end of the year, and we'll see how it goes. There's 100 categories that I compiled, and it'll be a roulette style. So as I finish a book, I will roll in more books. I started with 5 books, and I will draw however many I finished. So let's just kind of go through what I drew last time and talk about those books and then go from there. I'm going to pull up my Goodreads right here because I just went through and I just updated my Goodreads and I did reviews on the books that I finished. So the first one I drew was number 23, which was a book with 500 pages, and that was, I chose A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. Now that one was a heavy book to read, but it's a Christian fiction based on biblical times, about 40 years after the trials of Jesus, after his death, during the Roman times. Sorry, I need to get chapstick on. It's based on during the Roman times, and they were very, very, very brutal during this time period. The Romans were very powerful, and Francine Rivers was very descriptive in her book. Very descriptive. He brought in, how the Romans were back then, historical evidence on how they were back then. And they were brutal, and she was very descriptive about that. So it was a hard read because of that, and it's talking about, how they're selling off the women and, selling them off because, if they're pretty or, to be slaves or to go off to the quarries because of their religion. They'd be sold off to the Egyptians, if you're Jewish, just trials and tribulations. And so, you don't, even it was by a Christian author, it wasn't like preaching at you, which was great. I love reading Christian fiction. That's what I really love. But if you really wanted to know the time period, during the Roman era, you gotta pick up this book. It's so good. But the number 2 book I drew was number 39, which was a book with magic. So what I did is I didn't have any books that had magic in them, so I chose a book with magic in the title, and that was Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Now, I had previously read this book. I started to read this book, I was like in chapter 3 or something like that, so I just finished it off. This was a good book. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff because I think some of it's a little weird, thinking inanimate objects, but I really do feel that it's really good to declutter your life, and this book is fabulous for that, so I do recommend that one. The third book I drew was number 51, and that was a self-improvement book. So I went through my Kindle and I pulled Lose Pounds the Easy Way by Mary Williams. Now, I had a lot to say in this book. Now, if you're new to the whole diet and weight loss, that type of stuff, this book could give you some good insight, but I felt that this book was kind of lackluster. It didn't give everything it needed. So I was going through the chapters, and when I was giving my review, I was giving my review to the chapters. I said this book is good for a newbie. For example, If you need to know the exact steps to succeed, this book might be for you. But if you're looking into more insight, well then I would look for other books. Chapter 1 goes into diet and fitness tips. Not one diet is a cure-all, basically is what she's saying, that we have to find what diet really works for our bodies, because we're all different. Not everybody can do the paleo diet. Not everybody can do the keto diet. You know, I would love to be able to do the keto diet, but my system can't handle the high fats. She says, don't overdo it or you fail. Have realistic goals. Keep a journal. I don't keep a journal, but there are great websites. I say that there's great websites to use to log what you eat in a day. And she says to make it public so everybody can see what you're doing. She says to cheat. Take one day a week and have a cheat. You know, it's okay to have a piece of cake. And I always say that, you know, if I want a piece of cake, I'll have a piece of cake, but I'll have it in moderation. I tell my husband to buy that $5 bar of chocolate, the really expensive bars of chocolate, because I'm not going to sit there and eat that $5 bar of chocolate in one sitting. What I'll do, because it's all broke up in little squares, I'll break it off in one square, and for dessert, I will have that one square of that expensive chocolate for dessert. And then the next day, I will do the same. I'll have one square of that expensive chocolate. And because I know it's expensive chocolate, I'm going to savor it. Sugar-free, now that scared me. I thought she was going to say buy nothing but sugar-free, because I say stay away from artificial sweeteners 100%. It's toxic. Stay away from them. But she's saying to train your taste buds to stay away from sugar in general, which I appreciate that. And she says, you know, to be careful with artificial sweeteners. She says to be careful with them. She says doesn't stay away from them. And then she doesn't say why. And then she doesn't tell you what are good substitutes. She doesn't say honey, stevia, agave are good sugar substitutes. Why write a diet book and not give options? It's mind-blowing to me. Chapter 3 talks about problems you can face for being obese, and she goes into cancers, all these other problems, but that's not the case for everybody. So that's one thing that I wanted to point out there. For working out, you know that you can't just diet without doing something physical to lose weight. Number 5, she talks about the different diets and if they work. But she goes in and only talks about 2 diets, paleo and the fasting diet. That's it, only 2 diets. Diets and why they work. And then she talks about 2 diets, paleo and the fasting diet. Really? So, I mean, it's okay, but I'm quite knowledgeable about a lot of stuff, and that was mediocre. Very mediocre. This is something for a newbie. Somebody who has no idea where to start. This would give you a point in the right direction, but that's it. It'll lead you to, it would point you there, but not help you get there. And this is Lose Pounds the Easy Way, a complete diet and weight loss guide, a practical guide on how to lose pounds. Natural weight loss. No. Okay, so number 87 was a favorite book, and I chose Love Comes Softly by Jenna Oak. That's always been a favorite of mine since a kid. Do you feel better?
Yes.
Okay, good.
What is it?
So I read Love Comes Softly. It's always been a favorite. And then the last book I did not finish, which was a debut author, That's Queen by Emily R. King. I still want to read that. That's what I typed up when there's random number generator. So I'm going to type up 100 and I'm going to click generate. 32. A book that scares you. Ooh, I like that. Generate. 16. Book that you were supposed to read in school but didn't. That's funny. I love that one. That's hilarious. There was a lot of books I did not read in school because I was a stubborn butthead. Generate. 61. An audiobook. Oh, I so got this. This is great. I love this already. I love this already. Generate. 79. A book during the Civil War. Okay. Okay. Generate. 36. A book set during Christmas. Oh, how sweet. Well, let me get these books all set up and I'll get back to you. This is pretty darn cute. I like it already. I really like all of these books. A book that scares me. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so I think I have all my books chosen. So a book that scares me, I chose Sanctuary. Young adult horror, kind of based off, I've read it before, but I want to read it again because I want to read the second book, basically. But it's by Pauline Creedon. So that's the book that scares me because I decided I wanted a horror book. Doesn't necessarily scare me, but anyway. Okay, a book that I was supposed to read in school. Now that was pretty much every book that they assigned to me. I thought of Mice and Men, The Grapes of Wrath, all sorts of stuff, but I didn't have any of those books in my collection. But I did have of Pride of Prejudice, and so that was one that I was supposed to read and I didn't read. So I'm choosing that one. An audiobook, I decided to pick Out of the Ashes by Tracy Peterson, which is my genre that I love to read, and I love Tracy Peterson. I have probably 80 plus books of hers, easily. Book in the Civil War era, super easy for me because I love 1800s. So I picked In His Eyes, a Civil War romance by Stephania H. McGee, and I have pre-read for this author prior. I've done, I pre-read Leveraging Lincoln, which is a historical fiction during Lincoln's reign as president, etc. So I'm excited about reading In His Eyes to see what she wrote during this one. And then a book set in Christmas, I decided to pick The Christmas Wish. Actually, I have not been showing you pictures of all my choices. I've been bad. Here's the book title showing The Pride of Prejudice, Out of the Ashes.
This is Audible.
Whoops. There's the audiobook. It goes to chapter 1, but there's the book for In His Eyes for the Civil War book. Susan H. Reinhardt. I just went through my list and found this. So that's what I'm gonna read. So those are the next 5 books that I chose to read on top of The 100th Queen that I didn't finish last month. So I'll have 6 books to read. I think I'll be able to probably get through these ones just because the first one, I had that one book that was really hard to try to get through because it was just very deep and long. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I have a playlist of everybody else doing this Project Pan, and I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!